This is the presentation for CDFS 412 on finding articles in PsycInfo. Now, in the past, I've had students tell me that they usually use Google Scholar to find articles, and that they see no reason to switch to PsycInfo because Google Scholar is really easy. Please allow me to try to talk you out of this. A search engine like Google Scholar is an ineffective way to find scholarly articles. In fact, the name Google Scholar is misleading because few, if any, scholars rely on Google Scholar for their literature searches. Now, one problem with Google Scholar is that it's just too general. The sources of many fields are indexed in it, but no one field is covered very well. Now, I've noticed with developmental science journals, only a small subset are included in it. The journals it includes are great sources, but they don't include very many of the possibilities. It also seems that Google Scholar's databases aren't updated very often. Quite a few of the older classic articles are listed, but more recent choices are often not available. A possible reason why Google Scholar is so limited in scope has to do with journal subscription costs. Nobody is willing to work for free, and this includes journal publication companies. Libraries pay large sums each year to subscribe to journals in paper or electronic copy, and these costs can range from a few $100s to thousands of dollars a year for a year subscription. Google Scholar relies upon sources that are available free of charge, and as you'd expect, there aren't many journal publishers who are willing to give away their content for free. In short, the key limitation to Google Scholar is that there's a large risk that you'll miss good articles for your assignment for all of the reasons I've described above. Thus, it is absolutely necessary that you use PsycInfo to find your 2 or 3 supplemental articles for the paper. PsycInfo is an academic database of articles, books, chapters, and other publications in psychology and the related social sciences, including developmental science. You should know that WVU pays a subscription fee for this service, and you help pay for the university's subscription in your course fees. You are paying for this resource, so you might as well benefit from it. It's a little bit trickier to use than Google Scholar, which is why I've developed this presentation on how to use it. I will also provide individual help to anyone who needs it. The reason I strongly recommend using PsycInfo is because all appropriate journals are indexed in it, and the database is updated regularly. Furthermore, all back issues of all indexed journals are also included in this database. And what this means is that by searching PsycInfo, the chances are excellent that you'll find good articles for this assignment. Finally, WVU also pays for print and electronic subscriptions to many, if not most, of the best journals in developmental science. Best of all, the full-text versions of many journal articles are linked directly from the article records in PsycInfo. So even if it takes a little more time to get started using PsycInfo versus other search methods, you end up saving time in the long run because you can often get your article in just a couple of additional mouse clicks. So to get started, open a web browser window and go to the WVU Libraries website. The link is in large yellow letters at the top of this screen, www.libraries.wvu.edu. Entering this link will bring you to the main page of the WVU Libraries, the appearance of which changes on a regular basis, so it probably no longer looks as it's depicted on my screen here. To locate PsycInfo, find and click the Databases link, which is used to be under the Articles header on the page. It is still labeled Databases in the current version of the Libraries website. Now, clicking this page will take you to a new page. But this page lists subjects by default. But if you look over on the right side of the page, you can also go to Databases by title. You can jump to PsycInfo quickly by clicking P in this Databases by title menu. This will bring you to all of the databases that start with the letter P. They're listed in alphabetical order, so just scroll down to PsycInfo, which is down near the bottom of the page. Now, if you're accessing the library's website from off campus, at this point, you'll probably need to log in order to access eCampus and all other library resources. So enter your MyID username and password. There's instructions linked from this page, and then click Submit. And then the next page should be PsycInfo. When you enter PsycInfo, the first page usually looks like this. Now this is what's called a basic search page. I recommend changing over to the advanced search menu. So click that advanced search link, which is directly below the search box. This will allow you to narrow your searches more effectively, and so this will help you save time, effort, and oftentimes frustration as well. The advanced search page looks a little bit different. The key difference is that you have 3 search boxes instead of just 1, and you also have pull-down menus for each search box, which will further allow you to narrow your searches. So let's say that your topic is parental monitoring. Type parental monitoring into that first search box, as I've done here. Now this is a commonly used term, so you could also choose to specify it as a keyword from the pull-down menu to the right of that search box. Because you only want articles focused on adolescents, you could add another search term in the second box. The AND in the pull-down menu then tells PsycInfo to search for entries that include both terms, parental monitoring and adolescents. Now, I recommend entering adolesc with an asterisk, ADOLESC asterisk, in the second box. The asterisk is a wildcard term, and this term tells PsycInfo to bring up entries that include adolescents, ending with the CE, adolescent, ending with a T, or adolescents, ending with the TS. This saves you time because then you don't need to do multiple searches for each term. It just looks for articles that have any of these 3 versions in their fields. Now, if you're concerned about not knowing which search terms to use, if you need help, just let me know. I can definitely offer suggestions for each topic. And then click Search to run the search. PsycInfo will search for your combination of search terms and will bring up a list of articles fitting those criteria. This list shows a limited amount of information on each article fitting those criteria. Things like title, author's names, journal name, etc. They can be sorted in various different ways. This particular list is sorted in reverse chronological order, with the most recently published articles appearing at the top of the list and the older ones appearing further down the list. Now, don't assume that the newest articles are the best articles. This often isn't the case. You can and should do some sorting at this stage of the search. Now, sometimes you can tell an article won't be good for your topic based on the title alone. So start looking for articles that closely correspond to your topic. In this case, parental monitoring and adolescent risk behaviors. Now, the example I've highlighted could be a good choice, but it's hard to make an ultimate decision on the article without more information than you have here. To get more information about a specific article, click on the article title link. In the highlighted example, this starts with the influence of parental monitoring and communication. Clicking on that title link brings you to the database entry for that specific article. Right away, you should be able to tell that there's more information on this page than there was in the last one. Now, once again, there's the full article title, the names of the authors, there's the journal name, publication date, page numbers, and so forth. But toward the bottom of this screenshot is the article abstract. This is a summary of the full article that was written by the authors. It provides a basic overview of the study and should provide you with enough information to decide whether the article is a possible candidate for inclusion in your paper. It's absolutely necessary that your 3 choices be empirical studies published in peer-reviewed journals. Your articles cannot be research reviews, book chapters, public policy critiques, or any other type of article that is not an empirical research study. The good news is PsycInfo gives you some cues to help you make this determination about an article before you go any further in this process. Now, the top yellow arrow here points to some tags in the methodology section. which is located below the abstract. Note that this study is tagged as an empirical study and a quantitative study. This means that this article is still a candidate for inclusion in your paper. If the fields tag had included a term like qualitative study, this study would also still be acceptable for the paper. But if a term like literature review was included, it would not be suitable for the paper, and you would need to find another option. The bottom yellow arrow points to some tags in the publication type section, which is located a little bit below the methodology section. This article was tagged as being published in a journal, and specifically a peer-reviewed journal. This means that this article is still a candidate for your paper. If the field had a tag such as book chapter or essay, this article would no longer be suitable for the assignment, and you would need to find another option. Now, this example article is suitable for the assignment, so the next step is to locate the article itself. So remember, I mentioned one of the benefits of PsycInfo is that you can easily access the full text version of many articles directly from the articles record in PsycInfo. When this is the case, you will find a linked full text link at the top and bottom of the page. If you click this link, it will either take you directly to the article itself, which is the best case scenario. This is what happens most of the time. Or it will take you to an intermediary page that will subsequently lead you to the article. Now, be forewarned that this can sometimes take some extra steps, particularly if you're logged in from off-campus. Now, if your article entry doesn't have that link, and for the sake of this example, let's pretend that this article didn't have that linked full text link. It's still very possible that you can access this journal electronically via the WVU Library's website. So look for the Find It at WVU link, which is usually also at the top and bottom of the page. Clicking this will automatically search the library's electronic catalog for the journal and for the article. Now, sometimes it'll take you to a page that looks like this one when you do that search. It usually opens in a new window or a new tab in your web browser. Now, the library catalog has been searched automatically for that particular article, and these are the results of that search. In this example, the library has an electronic subscription to this journal, including the particular volume or year of this journal. This means you should be able to get this article free of charge through the library. Now, often this search will take you to a direct link to the article, which I've noted here with the first yellow arrow from the left. Clicking that highlighted link will take you theoretically to that article. I say theoretically because sometimes this process is still a little buggy, and you'll need to do some extra searching. The bugs tend to pop up, particularly if you're searching from off-campus. Now, this direct link won't always be present. Sometimes there will be a link just to the journal, which is the second yellow arrow, the one on the right. When you click it, it usually will bring up a page that looks like this next one. This is the typical sort of page that pops up when you click that journal link. The journal name pops up, and somewhere near the top of the page there'll be some sort of index, usually by year of publication or journal volume, noted here in the yellow circle. So click on that link that corresponds to the year of publication for the article you want. This will bring up a list of issues for that year or volume. Click the link that corresponds to the issue that you want. We'll go with number 3 in this example. And this brings up the list of all the articles published in that issue of the journal. Scroll through the list until you find the one that you wanted. Then click the HTML or preferably the PDF link for that article. PDF is strongly recommended. It's the easiest to save, it's the easiest to print. The formatting of these articles often gets messed up when articles are converted into HTML. And here is the article we chose in PDF format, ready for saving to your hard drive or flash drive or for printing if that's your preference. To click it, or to save it, click on that little disk icon. So what happens if you click Find It at WVU and there's no direct link to that article or journal? This doesn't mean you don't have electronic access to that article. It usually just means that the links haven't been developed yet. You have another option from the Find It at WVU page. Look in the option labeled More Full Text Options. One of the choices listed is Search Mountain Links Catalog. If you click For Journal, this will automatically search the library's catalog for this journal in electronic or paper formats. Now this is the result of that search. An example journal is available electronically and is in paper copy at the library. You can see where it's located by clicking on those links. But if you click on the link labeled with the journal's name and electronic resource, it will bring you to another page where the available electronic volumes are listed. This is that page. It shows that the library owns paper copies that are located at the Health Sciences Library, and it shows which volumes are available in various forms: hard copy, microfilm, etc. If the library has electronic access, it will also show up here in this list. Now, WVU doesn't have electronic or print access to all journals, and occasionally it's necessary to request articles through interlibrary loan. I have to do this all the time to get articles from one particular journal called Development and Psychopathology. It's an excellent journal that has an incredibly expensive fee for subscription, so we don't have it here at WVU. Now, as students, if you come across this issue, you can request articles through interlibrary loan. It's a free service, and typically you receive the electronic copy of the article you requested within about 24 hours of submitting your request. I've received them in as little as a couple of hours when I've done this before. So to get started with this, click on the Iliad link, noted above with the yellow arrow. It might then be necessary to log in again, but once again, you'll use your MyID in order to log in here. If you follow the steps I've described above, once you log into Interlibrary Loan, you will get a page like this one for the journal article request. And at least some of the fields will be filled in for you. If the fields aren't filled in already, you can get all the information you need from the PsycInfo article page. This is why it's a good thing that these new windows open up in separate tabs. You don't have to fill in all of the fields. The ones that are most important are the article author, most importantly, the first author listed, and our last name, or even just first name, first initial, middle initial. You also need the full article title. You need the title of the journal, which you should not abbreviate. The volume number, the issue number is also helpful. The year of publication, the month and day of publication don't really matter. You need the page numbers, ideally first and last. And if you can include either the ISSN or the ISBN, which is available on the PsycInfo page, this will significantly shorten the amount of time it will take for Interlibrary Loan to fill your request. No other pieces of information are essential. Click Submit Request at the bottom of the page. When Interlibrary Loan receives your article, you'll receive an email notification in your Mix email, and you can get the article by logging back into Interlibrary Loan. A lot of students avoid using Interlibrary Loan because they see these extra steps as a lot of work, and they're afraid the article won't arrive in time. I hope you can now see it's not really a whole lot of extra work. And once you've made one or two requests, you know the process, it gets faster and easier. Plus, taking the time to do this pays off because you end up getting really great articles for your paper. And provided you start assignments ahead of time, the articles should arrive with plenty of time to spare. Now, not all sources are equally acceptable for this assignment. You should focus on these journals that are listed on this screen as much as possible. This is not an exhaustive list. If you have a question about whether something is acceptable or not, the more information you can send me, the faster and the easier I'll be able to make this determination. So send me the article itself, send me all of the reference information, the abstract, etc., and I'll get back to you with suggestions about whether it's acceptable or not. Now, the journal with the single word title Adolescence is not acceptable under any circumstances. This journal is not truly a peer-reviewed journal. It's what's called a vanity press. What this means is that researchers pay to publish their articles in it, and just about any article can get published provided the authors pay the publication fees. Now, good research sells itself, and if a study is strong, the researcher shouldn't need to pay in order to get it published. Now, once you have your article in hand or on screen, it's a good idea to give it a quick scan to make sure it is in fact an empirical journal article. Sometimes articles aren't exactly what they seem. Empirical articles, whether they are quantitative or qualitative, will generally have 4 main sections, and these sections will be noted with headers. The header introduction might appear. Sometimes it might also be labeled the literature review. In this section, the authors describe the conceptual case for their study, they lay out their hypotheses or research questions, and they support their hypotheses or ideas with evidence from other studies on their topic. In the methods section, authors describe how they did their study. There are usually subsections in this section on participants, procedures, measures, etc. In the results section, authors discuss their analyses of the data. If it's a quantitative study, this is the section that students usually hate because there's lots of confusing numbers and details. There might also be tables and graphs in this section. Finally, the discussion section is where the authors interpret the findings of their study and discuss how their findings fit in with other studies, as well as future directions for research in this topic area. These sections might look a little bit different in qualitative studies in that sometimes methods and results sections are combined. Now, that's okay in a qualitative investigation, but just check with me if you're not sure. Now, a literature review or a research report doesn't follow the same structure, and thus it's not appropriate for the paper assignment. Usually these papers have more descriptive subheaders. They don't follow the same organization that I just described above. A telltale sign is the absence of a results section. If they don't have a lot of stats and numbers, then it's probably an article review. So in closing, don't worry, don't panic if you get stuck at any step of this process. Your instructor in the GA, if you have one, can help over the phone or by email. If you think that we'll need at least 10 minutes on the phone, please send me an email first so that we can set up an appointment and schedule a time for the conversation that should work for both of us. Finally, let me stress it's really necessary that you start this process early. Finding articles takes time, and if everybody waits until the last minute to start looking for articles and then everyone needs help, then I won't be able to help everyone effectively, and that's frustrating for both of us.